And welcome in, everybody, to another edition of Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan to my right, your left, and I am Eli Moon, and this is another edition of Inside Edge Primetime. Welcome in, everybody. A Tuesday edition. Oh my goodness, all over the place today, Chad. Tuesday edition, getting off a little late start, and that's my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Just running around, kind of a tumultuous day, Chad, but I am here. I'm in the saddle. I apologize for keeping you waiting and the fine folks of Inside Edge Network, but we are rocking and rolling.
Yeah, no worries, man. You got to do what you got to do sometimes, right? Sometimes you have to run errands, right?
Hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But we are here on Inside Edge Network. Give us a follow if you've been tuning in all week so far, Inside Edge Net. But we're going to talk about a ton of great stuff here today. We're going to talk about, first off, some NFL news. As the Super Bowl MVP is not getting franchise tagged and maybe won't be returning to Seattle. We'll talk about that. And a news from a lineman out of Chicago. Kind of a little shocking there. We'll talk about that here. Later on, we'll talk about some baseball news. I'll try to calm Chad down. And we have our Tuesday top 5 later on in the show. So a lot of great stuff here. Super excited to talk about it. But Chad, before we get into anything, how are you doing? I told you I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I mean, I had to go to the studio. I had to take care of some stuff. Album just dropped Friday, so I got stuff going on. I'm here, though. I'm here, man. How are you?
I'm good. I don't think I'm nearly as scattered as you are right now with everything going on. I don't have much going on. But no, I've just been kind of reading incredulously about one of our stories that we're going to talk about a little bit later on. I don't know. We'll get to it. I'm almost left without words right now at this point. Maybe I'll find some by the time we hit that segment. But
yeah,
irritating day.
Yeah, it's
day anyway.
Yeah, I've never felt better to be a Guardians fan, and that's the tease for the second segment. So stick around, everybody out there. But let's get into it before we get into baseball. Let's get into it. Some big news coming out of Seattle, and this is per The Athletic, that the Seahawks will not franchise tag Kenneth Walker, is what it's looking like. They're not planning to tag the Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl 60 MVP, Kenneth Walker. Kind of a little bit shocking here, Chad. I mean, we haven't had too many shocking news stories, I would say, this offseason. I mean, coaching-wise, you have Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh. I'd say those two were pretty shocking. But besides that, you haven't had too much shocking stuff. I'm not going to classify Tyreek Hill being released by the Dolphins as shocking or any of this other stuff. This, however, the guy just won Super Bowl 60 MVP and had probably one of his best years as a pro, healthiest years as a pro, and now he is not on the team potentially next year. I mean, can you remember a situation like this for a Super Bowl MVP?
It's happened. I can't think of any offhand, but I know that there are at least a couple instances. We'd have to look it up maybe during the break. I don't have them just listed in front of me, but I know that there have been some Super Bowl MVPs to play in a different place the following year. It wouldn't be the first time. And it's really not that shocking, actually, man. When I'm looking at his numbers, I thought the same thing at first. I thought, how do you let the Super Bowl MVP go? But it's more like, I don't want to say the victim of circumstance. He was the benefactor of circumstance. A really good pass defense, right? So it's just that there was a little bit of room for Walker to run. But, his healthiest year as a pro, but he ran for 5 touchdowns, right? For his career, I'm looking at his numbers, just over 4.3 yards per carry. Nothing overwhelming there. And he's going to get you about 61 yards a game. I mean, that'll get you to about 1,000. I mean, on the season if you played 16, 17 games, but really, Eli, not overwhelming numbers from Walker. And I guess, if you think you can get a little more production, a little more value somewhere else, then if you're Seattle, you don't franchise him, you let him walk. I kind of understand it.
Yeah, but I just think there's something with maybe the season he had. He's 25. Be 26 in October. You look at, Charbonnet had some health issues down the stretch in the postseason. That's what led to Kenneth Walker having the run he did. But also, I think, it had flashbacks of that Michigan State run when he ran for 4 or 5 touchdowns against Michigan. I mean, these prolific games for Kenneth Walker, and I think If this was a guy who was 28 years old, 29 years old, yeah, but this guy's 25, going to be 26 when the next football season really starts up, is really underway. Uh, I don't know if I like this move for the Seahawks unless it's just to save, obviously, money. I mean, you have Charbonnet under contract still, and then you're probably going to go draft a running back now. Maybe they're in the Jeremiah Love sweepstakes. Maybe they can position a way to get up there. But I think what the bigger conversation is, or what it should be about, is who should really be in the running for Kenneth Walker. I mean, am I just silly for thinking that
Yeah.
a team in okay, for thinking a team in orange and brown could entertain Kenneth Walker? Chad, hear me out.
Okay.
Todd Monken in 2019 had Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. We talked off air. I get it. It wasn't the most efficient way of using Kareem Hunt, but they did have him in the backfield. Todd Monken just got done using a workhorse back in Derrick Henry with a change of pace. You had your Gus Edwards. You had your change of pace every now and then, your Keaton Mitchells. But you had that workhorse running back.
Yeah.
And Kenneth Walker, 25, going to be 26 in October, could be that workhorse running back. Can he stay healthy? That's a big question. But Quinshon Judkins is coming off an injury as well. You don't want to necessarily have to put that entire workload on a second-year pro. You maybe would rather put it on the Super Bowl MVP from last year and pair it up. Now, the conversation is going to be how much is it going to cost? And that's a whole different discussion because running backs and the contracts are so confusing nowadays. Are you going to get Saquon Barkley money, or are you going to get closer to, middle of the road? What's it going to look like for you? And I think for Kenneth Walker, I don't know if there's going to be a ton of suitors that are going to pay him a ton of money because, to be honest, there are some running backs in this class that people like, and I think that's the biggest. I think that's the biggest thing. I think that's why the Seahawks are okay getting off of Kenneth Walker because Jeremiah Love's there. There's some other guys that teams are starting to like here in the running back draft class. So I don't know, but I do think the orange and brown. I think the Cleveland Browns should entertain it. I mean, if you get Kenneth Walker, you sign him. Let's just say he took a deal where he's like, okay, I'm going to sign for enough where the Browns can afford me, and also, you know what? I want to play in Cleveland. Those two things.
Do people say those things?
I know that you can afford me and I want to play in Cleveland. And then the Browns would have obviously their workhorse running back, potentially two of them with Judkins. And you kind of go back to what we keep talking about, which is, are the Browns going to lean on a run-heavy offense? Are they going to lean on a run-heavy offense? Well, if you pick up Kenneth Walker in free agency, I think you have no other choice but to lean on a run-heavy offense. And we've had conversations, Chad, about wide receivers and how, yes, they are going to impact the offense, but they're not going to necessarily change the entire dynamic of the offense. But I tell you this, you pick up the former, the most recent Super Bowl MVP, you put him in the backfield and give him 20-something carries a game, I think that will definitely get the offense moving and maybe you won't put 8 in the box every time.
Well, you still need an offensive line, and I think that's the biggest thing that's going to keep the Browns from really making this move. I mean, you've got so many holes to fill in the offensive line that this isn't a normal offseason. It's not like, hey, let's go out and get a bunch of good football players at different. We'll create some roster wide depth, right? That sounds ideal, but when you're in such a hole, I mean, on the offensive line, they're gonna need to almost bring in like a wholesale change. So. Yeah, I just don't think you go out and get a guy like Kenneth Walker in there. I think you might see him go to Tampa Bay. What if he go? Listen, you mentioned Kareem Hunt. What if he goes to Kansas City? What if I feel like he kind of fits with the Chiefs. I don't know. Maybe not. But as for the Browns, I just don't think they're really in the market for any kind of. I don't think they would spend money on a running back right now. Maybe when you kind of start to get that offensive line overhaul in progress or most of the way done, hopefully in one season, if they can get 2 or 3 different guys in here, maybe even 4. I don't know if they're all going to be starters or just depth or whatever. It's just kind of spitballing and making a guesstimation. But if you bring in some guys and then maybe in the offseason you go, hey, this offensive line's starting to gel. We're getting guys working together. We've got Warhop, working his magic in there. Let's add another running back to this thing. And maybe next year is the year that you go out and get a running back and a wide receiver. And listen, I think you draft a wide receiver now this year. I think you've got to do that. I think you've got to get wide receivers. You've got to get offensive linemen. But like you said, I don't think a wide receiver is out there that's going to come in and completely change the dynamic of this offense right away until you find an offensive line that can keep, Shador Sanders or whoever. We talked about the myriad options at quarterback. I think you've got to find a guy that can, first of all, stay clean in the pocket and be a little productive, and then maybe you talk about adding a running back, adding this, adding the toys to the offense. But for now, I think you got to go get the meat and the potatoes. You got to really get like the main, the main dish right now. Unfortunately, the Browns are just in a weird spot. Eli, it's tough.
Yeah, it is. It is a tough spot. Well, that's my proposal. We'll keep it in mind. Kenneth Walker, maybe we'll revisit it in a week or so and
Maybe
see if maybe we'll come back and see if
if he signs
Kenneth
with Tampa
Walker.
Bay. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, he signs with Tampa Bay, and that's everything. All right, that's our story out of Seattle. Out of Chicago, a kind of interesting story here, Chad. I'd say Adam Schefter reported that the Chicago Bears lineman Drew Dahlman retired at age 27. He is ending his pro career. This is per the ESPN article from Courtney Cronin, ending his pro career after 5 seasons. He was a fourth-round pick in 2021. Spent his first 4 seasons with the Atlanta Falcons, where he started 40 games. He signed a 3-year, $42 million contract with the Bears in the 2025 offseason.
Totally random, Eli. You know who else signed a 3-year, $42 million contract?
Who's that?
A couple of Jurickson Profar. Maybe if we find time later, we'll try to catch up with Jurickson and see what he's doing these days. I haven't heard about him lately.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk about him later. Maybe.
Yes. Here's the crazy thing about Drew Dahlman. They're saying he had his best year as a pro. You're okay. You're okay. I don't know if we'll have time to talk about the Braves today, but we'll see. We'll see if we can sneak it in. See if we can sneak it in second segment. But I'll tell you this. You look at this story. It's weird. First off, I mean, 27 years old, has his best year as a pro. It seems like with the Bears, and they go to their first, win a playoff game. They have all this success, and then he kind of just drops off. Like he decided to move on. There's not any too much of a story on this. Basically, the way it works out, though, his cap hit for 26 is $14 million. Although $9.5 million of his base salary was guaranteed last year, his retirement can void that guarantee, and the Bears will be accountable for only the remaining $4 million prorated signing bonuses in 26 and 27. And they could also choose to recoup part of that bonus, as $2 million of the signing bonus has not been paid out yet. So a lot of money to be situated. But what do you make of this story, Chad?
I don't know. I mean, guys retire early for different reasons. It's hard to say. I mean, sometimes as an offensive lineman, you think that's where literally you get hit. You're hitting somebody on every play. You're getting hit on every play. You may take a little less contact as a center, but you're still getting beat up in there an unbelievable amount. Some people watch a game and they never looked in the trenches, and you'd be surprised at how, if you didn't know, you'd be surprised at how violent. And most of us know, but I don't know. Maybe he's just tired of the process, man. I mean, sometimes you can get tired of any job. It doesn't matter. It may seem like a dream job to us. Maybe for him, it's total hell. Thinking about showing up to OTAs and staying in shape for the off season and doing whatever. Maybe he's just tired of maintaining 300 pounds on his frame. Could be a mental health concern, could be CTE concern, could be anything really. It's hard to speculate, but really there's a number of different reasons that it could be happening. It's unfortunate for the Bears. I mean, I've talked about it on most of my shows, how the Bears probably have done the best job of retooling that offense over the last couple of seasons, right? You went in and you really got some receivers for Caleb Williams, got some offensive line, you built a nice offensive line, and now here's the center. I mean, the literal centerpiece, right, of what you've built, calling it quits. So I don't know. Listen, everybody gets to do their own thing and make their own decision. I'm certainly not knocking him, but yeah, it's a blow for the Bears for their future for sure.
Yeah, first time Pro Bowler this year. Dahlman was the center. Yeah, like Chad said, the centerpiece of that line, and the Bears will have to figure that out. Last offseason, it's interesting. I was reading this ESPN article. They were mentioning about last March, the Bears flipped the interior of their offensive line in less than a week when they traded for guards Joe Thuney and Jonah Jackson before signing Dahlman as a free agent. And obviously, like I said, Dahlman and Thuney as well earned Pro Bowl honors. So the Bears had a strong line. They'll have to replace their center. Caleb Williams will have a new linemen, at least one of them on the line, and it'll be interesting to see there. Chad, I got to ask you this.
Hmm.
I don't know. Do you have, first off, do you have any final thoughts on this Drew Dahlman story?
Just curious about who they'll target now. I mean, you would think they would want to go get someone relatively top half of the league. Maybe they stumble into Tyler Linderbaum now. I don't know if he leaves Baltimore for Chicago. That's necessarily a better situation, but I don't know. I mean, yeah, just curious to see who they'll pick up. Maybe
Okay.
Connor McGovern. Been in Buffalo for a couple of years, but well, I got
Interesting.
a couple seasons. I don't know. Whatever. That's all I got.
Interesting. Well, I want to ask
I
you
don't know.
this.
To be honest with you,
You're all good. While we're on the NFL here for a moment, I don't know. Did you happen to check out Midnight Run yesterday with Double A Anthony Alford?
I did watch the Midnight Run until my phone actually died. I did not have the charger upstairs, and I was like, I'm too old and tired to go. I'm going to go to sleep instead. I just fell asleep. That's what happens. But yeah, my phone died on me.
That's tough. Well, I don't know if you caught any of the conversation about Anthony Richardson.
I did hear that. Yeah.
Okay. How are you feeling about Anthony Richardson as a Cleveland Browns quarterback in the carousel? Okay.
Never. I don't care about the physical tools. Listen, he could run a 3.740 and throw the ball 500 yards. He quit on his team because he was tired, Eli. He literally walked off the field and went to the sidelines as the starting quarterback because he was tired.
He was tired.
No. No.
Let Daniel Jones get a play in.
Listen, if I can't get a nap in because my kids are in a snack cycle because I'm tired, then he can't take a playoff in the NFL. I'm sorry. He gets paid a little bit more than I do to get my kids snacks, right? Like there are certain expectations. No, never AR-15 ever or whatever he is. I don't care.
And then
no,
I'd hate to. I had to ask because he got released today, and we're not going to have time to really talk about him today. But we'll talk about him probably tomorrow. Kyler Murray got released. They saying by the. I just want to make sure. I know we talked about him. I think yesterday or at the end of last week.
Bradford to see what he's up to these days. No,
I just like to check if things have changed in 24 hours. That's all.
Absolutely. I will never change. No, I still think Kyler Murray should either go to maybe like a Call of Duty type of thing where we professionally games, or maybe he can go back and try some baseball. I mean, he was a good baseball player. Obviously, he was drafted by the Athletics, so no longer the Oakland Athletics, and not yet the Las Vegas Athletics.
They're just
mysterious athletics. Yeah, so weird. Baseball's weird sometimes. Sports are weird sometimes. But yeah, no, I don't want Kyler Murray. I don't want who'd we say? Oh yeah, Anthony Richardson. I don't want him. I was thinking Sam Bradford. I'm like, why would you ask me about Sam Bradford? I brought him, but yeah, no.
Just one more before we go to break here. Okay. Ty Simpson.
No. Okay. Not at 6, not in the first round, not in the second round. No, not Ty Simpson. No, unless it's like a guy they're just going to take a flyer around later in the draft. Maybe. No, but no.
See, you thought I wasn't prepared for all these questions. I was ready to ask you some hard-hitting questions about the Browns here. I got one more for you, then we're going to go to break.
Let's do it.
You are making the call week 1. The Browns are trotting out who as their week 1 starting quarterback?
Right now, if I'm looking at the roster the way it is, if they don't bring anyone in, which I don't think they'll bring anyone in through free agency. I'm the more I've thought about that, again, I don't think Malik Willis is going to be an option because of the representation. He and Shooter have the same agent. I don't think that's going to happen. I just don't think that seems like a bad move on the agency's part. So I think they'll try to do anything they can to avoid Cleveland. Who else would they bring in? I mean, there's Tua that might be out there. We talked about Kyler Murray. We don't want him, or I don't want him. Who else? I mean, Kirk Cousins. No, I don't want to. What's the point of bringing him to what is he, 38, 39?
No, you bring him in if Kevin Stefanski was still here. You don't bring him in after Kevin Stefanski's gone.
Right. And regardless, I mean, it just doesn't do anything. I mean, he's got he's not going to be a 5-year guy in the NFL. Like, what's the point? Like, we're in the middle of a little bit of an offensive rebuild right now. You don't bring in an almost 40-year-old quarterback. No, don't do that either. So yeah, if I'm looking at the roster the way it is right now, I don't think whoever they pick, I don't think they'll take a quarterback at 6. I don't think there's a quarterback worth taking at 6 if Fernando Mendoza goes at 1. So, and I don't even know. I mean, you never know about Fernando Mendoza. Like we said yesterday, it's not necessarily guaranteed that he's, the next Joe Montana. Just because he goes at the number 1 overall pick, it does not guarantee success. I would guess right now it would have to be Shedeur Sanders. He's got probably the highest floor. We don't know what Deshaun Watson is anymore. He hasn't played meaningful football in 5 years. When he played here, it wasn't good. It didn't go well. It wasn't pretty. You could say all the things. It just never went well. We get about one, maybe two good quarters his
Yeah,
entire time. No, probably
not
not
good.
going to be him, unless there's some miraculous, change that's happened with him. I doubt it's going to be him. We saw what Dylan Gabriel did last year. I mean, he could barely throw the ball 15 yards unless he was trying to throw a swing pass, and then somehow 40 yards to the sidelines. Interesting. So he's doesn't have much of a vertical game. He's got the horizontal game down, but no vertical throwing power. So it's got to be Shedeur, right? If you're looking at the roster, the way it's constructed right now, it would have to be Shedeur week 1, right?
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, I think the Browns are positioning themselves to make Shedeur the starting quarterback. I mean, he's going to have to earn the position, obviously, but I think he'll get a chance to. Yeah, and I think he'll get a chance to be the 17-game starter and to prove if he is the franchise quarterback for the Browns for the next 10, 15 years, or if the Browns need to dip their toes into the 2027 draft class for
which
quarterbacks.
is much deeper.
We'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. We talked about Fernando Mendoza. Chad mentioned him. We will talk about him, and yes, we will talk about the Atlanta Braves on the other side of the break. I'll try to calm Chad down. We'll also talk about our friend Alley Rose Fragrances and some great information on how you can take advantage of a great deal with Alley Rose Fragrances after the break. But that's Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I'm Eli Moon. This is Inside Edge Primetime, and we are back right after this. And welcome back to Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon, and we are back, and we have a conversation to be had. If you just missed us, we talked in the first break about Kenneth Walker. The Seahawks now looking to possibly franchise tag him through the Athletic. That's what we're hearing. And also, we talked about Drew Dahlman, the Chicago Bears center, retiring per Adam Schefter of ESPN. So we talked about that, and then obviously we entertained our program director and our buddy, Double A Anthony Alford, a Midnight Run with Anthony Alford, which you can check out here, midnight to 1 a.m. tonight. It is Tuesday, so Monday through Wednesday. Check it out with Double A, but entertaining the Anthony Richardson, or just having a conversation about Anthony Richardson and Chad. We didn't get too far with that.
No.
So, what we will get far with is an Alley Rose fragrance candle. Double A has been telling me that they've been lasting super extensive in terms of their burn time. Chad, I know you have a plethora of those candles, and I know you took advantage of a great deal. InsideEdge20 is the code for first-time users of the website, AlleyRoseFragrances.com, the newest sponsor of the Inside Edge Network. InsideEdge20, capital I, capital E, all one word. And you get 20% off your entire order. Chad, I know you took advantage of this, and I know you've been enjoying the candles, and I mean, they have a lot. Alley Rose has a ton to offer, but just, I mean, with spring coming in, this is a great opportunity to take advantage of a good smelling candle, or 3 or 4.
Yeah, the autumn day is still going strong in my wife's office. Listen, I would not be upset at all if I had paid full price. Definitely pick up. I wish I would have bought more at 20% off, honestly, but I have no problem going back and paying full price or whatever it is. I don't know when this deal ends. I'm not even sure. I don't know when the deal ends, but I know it won't be on forever. I know it will not be on forever. So I would, if you want to save 20% on your order, I would definitely get to AlleyRoseFragrances.com as soon as possible. Again, it's like through the whole house, man. It smells so good, so clean, so natural, all natural ingredients, vegan, cruelty-free. And again, everything's handmade and hand-poured right here in the United States, Charlotte, North Carolina. And then, Eli, I told you she had some videos on Instagram of her kind of going through the process of doing the body mist. I thought that was cool. Just really never seen it before. I thought it was kind of fun to watch the process and how much work it is, how much work goes into it. She does a ton of work, man. So please head to our sponsors, AlleyRoseFragrances.com. Words are hard, apparently. I'm still steaming about the next topic I've met. On the forefront of my mind right now. But yeah, please, AlleyRoseFragrances.com and use our code InsideEdge20 to get 20% off your entire order.
You heard Chad, and yeah, go take advantage. AlleyRoseFragrances.com, InsideEdge20. All right, Chad. Here's the news. I know you're a Braves fan. Major League Baseball reported that Atlanta Braves Jurickson Profar, and I just put that he's the Braves Jurickson Profar because he can be designated hitter, he can be left fielder. Today he is suspended 162 games for PED use. It's been a rough start for the Braves. A few pitchers on the IL. They didn't re-sign Marcell Ozuna.
No.
I mean, how are you feeling? I mean, let's start with. Do you want to start with how do you feel about the Braves, or how do you feel about Profar?
Well, I think I can tell you how I feel about Jurickson Profar, and we can probably, we can segue that into how I feel about the Braves. I don't understand what Jurickson Profar has gotten into. This is the second year now. Last year, remember, he missed half the season because he tested positive for a performance-enhancing substance. And I'm trying to stay calm, and I'm trying to breathe through my words here because no one wants to hear me yell, right? No one wants to hear that. So I'm going to be very calm. I'm going to act like I'm not a Braves fan on this. So for the second year, within less than a calendar year now, he's been busted again by Major League Baseball. I don't know if he thought he could just fly under the radar because, well, hey, they caught me last year. I mean, the dumbest thing that I could do and the last thing they would suspect. I mean, the absolute dumbest damn thing on the face of the earth that I could do now is to get busted using the same exact substance that I claimed that I used accidentally last year that I still had laying around apparently this year for spring training, just because you never know, right? And I'm sure that if it wasn't approved last year, the case Jurickson Profar is that it probably would be okay this year. And anyway, they won't even look in my direction. Why would they think that I would be dumb enough to do the same damn thing 2 years in a row, right? Maybe that's what he was thinking. Or maybe he just wasn't thinking. I hope he wasn't thinking. I hope it's the case of CTE, honestly, Eli. There's got to be some reason that you could be this stupid. I mean, I'm sorry. I don't ever dump on athletes. I don't care. You can make all the mistakes on the field you want. It doesn't matter. You can go 0 for 6 with 6 strikeouts in the absolute biggest game in franchise history. And I will never flame you like this, but this is stupid, Eli. I mean, this is absolutely just about as stupid as it gets. And the ridiculous thing is, we talked about the 3-year, $42 million contract, $14 million a year. The Braves are going to be stuck with him next year. They're not going to be able to move on. They owe him the money. They don't have to pay it this year. It'll get whatever. It gets back. They got about $15 million to work with. They could go get a pitcher. They need pitching. They could go get a left fielder and a DH. They need a left fielder and a DH suddenly. At least they're not like the Browns. They don't have to replace their whole offensive line. That's good. But
Do you
go
let
ahead.
me sorry, just to give you a moment to breathe. Do you think the Braves being ahead of schedule, winning the World Series, do you think, because you've talked about this before on the show, do you think them being ahead of schedule, and not the Profar thing per se, because that's, I mean, you can't predict that the guy is going to go double up on the time he got last year, but do you think them winning the World Series has allowed them to maybe get a little more complacent and they're not as eager to make some of these moves? Because when the Acuna like prime started, or like the beginning of this window that opened with Acuna, like that's you know, an Ozzy Albies, you have like those guys that stand out. They did everything to bring a World Series, and they ended up, like you said, ahead of schedule, won a World Series. And I don't know. Everybody can say, well, ahead of schedule, what's that really mean? The Braves were probably a year or two away from really being in their full stride. That's why it was shocking they didn't repeat or win one a few years later. Do you think they've kind of got complacent in their ways a little bit?
I don't know. It's hard to say what winning a championship does to a franchise, right? I think that it does different things to different franchises. Injuries have been the main concern for the Braves. I don't think complacency is the issue as far as why they're not performing on the field. I mean, last year we started. I mean, opening day, 100% of the pitching staff was on the IL. That's a lost season. I don't care what kind of depth you have in the minor leagues. I don't care what kind of financial freedom you have. At that point, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you're shopping in the clearance aisle, right? It's opening day. I mean, nobody's just waiting. I shouldn't say nobody, because there are, over the last couple of years, there have been some starting pitchers available through spring training and even up to opening day, because basically Scott Boras. But I mean, come on. But it doesn't matter. When you need to replace your entire starting rotation on opening day, you're not going to be. I don't like, again. You can't bring 5 guys in. You just can't do it.
Yeah,
No, I mean, I don't know what happened. The Braves, if you would have asked them back in 2018, 2019, back then the ETA for everything kind of coming together and gelling would have been 2022, 23, 24. They won the World Series in 2021, inexplicably, by the way. Don't understand really why they decided to be buyers that trade deadline, but they did. So they went out and revamped the whole outfield. Again, injuries were a concern. Revamped the whole entire outfield, brought in what I thought was just a masterful move in Jock Peterson. Not necessarily Mickey Mantle, right? I don't think it was but it was just the attitude that he brought to that clubhouse. I think it was just totally different. Obviously, Eddie Rosario was a huge piece of that. You saw what he did in the NLCS and the Dodgers that year. He was absolutely amazing. He was like Babe Ruth in that series. But I think it was just Jock Peterson's attitude, really, that like changed things for the Braves at that trade deadline. They brought him in, and just watching them every night, you could see the attitude of that team completely flip. Right? They went from just whatever, we're just out here mailing it in, to hey, all of a sudden now we have this edge, right? Like we have a little bit of this attitude, and we don't necessarily probably belong as being buyers at the deadline, but that's what we did, and all of a sudden, like, the Braves were the team to deal with, right? And you saw it run right through. I mean, they ran right through the Astros all the way to the World Series. So I don't really know that it's complacency. I think it's just injuries. And I guess on one hand, yeah, there's nothing you can do about that. But on the other hand, it's like, why every year can the same franchise have different guys, but at the same position? Like, what is going on with the pitching in Atlanta? How can you constantly be on the IL? And it's been Spencer Strider, it's Spencer Schwellenbach, it's you can go down. I mean, the list of guys that have been on the IL for whatever reason. But now, and I mentioned Spencer Strider. He's not hurt, but his velocity is sitting at 92 to 94. and there's no explanation for it. Who knows? Is he going at 75% effort right now because it's spring training? And
Well, you just wonder with the rehab. You're not to interrupt you, but you wonder about the rehab and the medical staff, and you wonder, like, you wonder like just how the procedures are down there, in Atlanta right now. It's kind of
yeah,
a lot going on there. I mean, Profar is a completely different thing than the
oh
injuries. I
yeah,
mean, that's just adding fuel to the fire. But the Braves have basically shot themselves in the foot about 10 times before April even started.
and you saw him finish under 500 last year because of this type of thing, like I said. But last year was a little different. Went into the season with 0% of their starting rotation. So at least you've got Chris Sale there. You've got a couple of guys. Bryce Elder's looked okay in the spring. Bryce Elder's the guy who he'll go out and throw 6 innings and give up 2 hits in one start, and then his next start he won't get out of the third inning. And it's inconsistency, right? You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So you want the guys like Swellenbach and Hurston Waldrop and Spencer Strider and guys that have shown at least a little bit of consistency. And even though some of those guys are young in the major leagues, you want them to be healthy. You want them to be on the mound. And right now, the Braves just can't get that going. I don't know. The Profar thing really pisses me off. I don't understand how you can do this 2 years in a row. I don't get it. And how, and I get it. You can't babysit these guys either. But how is no one in the organization going, hey, you're not doing the thing, right? You're not still putting that powder on your Lucky Charms, are you? Like, whatever. I know that's not the case, but it makes me less angry to think about it that way. I just don't understand how this can happen 2 years in a row to the same guys, same situation, the same substance, and no one's got an eye on it in the organization. Much the way that guys come in with loose bodies in their elbow and they're on a throwing program for 5 days, and suddenly they're having a procedure to clean something up and they're out for 60 days. Is there no contact in the offseason? Like, did no one pick up a ball the entire offseason and go, my forearm feels a little tight? Okay, let's get that looked at. Now it's November. Before anything bad happens, right, going into the season, we got to get something cleaned up in there, and you're going to be out 2 to 4 months. Let's have 2 to 4 months be November to, I don't know, February, right? Instead of February to the middle of the season now. It's frustrating, and it's frustrating as a Braves fan to see it. And I think you asked me earlier, would you rather who's in bigger trouble, whatever, is it the Guardians or it's the Braves right now, because the Braves have the Mets and the Phillies that contend with in that division. Any little slip, any little stumble or whatever out of the gates like this can cost you a division in baseball. So, yeah, I think the Braves are in a little bit of trouble.
Okay. We'll keep an eye on it, Chad. I'll let you cool off for a moment. I'll let you chill. I'll ask you this: we don't have too much time left in this segment before we go to break. And reminder: Tuesday top 5 coming up after the break. Not going to tell you what it is. You just have to stay tuned with Chad and I. We have Tuesday top 5 coming up though.
Not PED bust. It's not top 5 PED
no.
bust. Sorry.
I'll ask you this though before the break, and maybe we'll reflect more on this tomorrow. But there was a rumor going around. Obviously a ton of rumors going around about Fernando Mendoza in terms of he's the number 1 draft pick. I mean, clearly. But, like, obviously there's always going to be smoke and conversation when it comes to the draft. And speaking to Mike Sando of The Athletic, this is per Bleacher Report and Mike Chiari. Mike Sando of The Athletic about Mendoza, an anonymous veteran offensive coach who has evaluated the 2026 quarterback class, said, "I don't think he's surefire at all. I like the Alabama guy better." And that is a quote from an anonymous offensive coach who likes Ty Simpson better than Fernando Mendoza. My question to you, Chad, is Fernando Mendoza the real deal?
It's so hard to say with any certainty. I have found out through the last few years, whatever. I'm not very good at diagnosing quarterbacks. I was right on Bo Nix. I thought Bo Nix was probably one of the top quarterbacks in his draft class, and he's been serviceable. He's done very well. I don't know. I mean, it's so hard to watch a quarterback play in college and then know how that's going to translate without. I think this is one of the places where you kind of have to have done it a little bit to know for sure. Because you see all kinds of people that have never played in the NFL guess on quarterbacks, and everyone's wrong. Jamarcus Russell was a sure thing. I mean, an absolute sure thing. But you couldn't predict that he was going to. Well, maybe you could. I guess if you were around him, you knew some people that were around him. I guess you could have had conversations. You couldn't predict he was going to not watch any film and not give any effort at all. You would think a guy that could kneel and throw a ball 70 yards from that kneeling position would be a surefire prospect. But if you don't know how to read a defense and don't put in the work to learn your own offense, clearly it's not going to work in the NFL. Um, I don't know. I mean, is Mendoza the real deal? I don't know. The thing I love about this article is I like the guy from Alabama better, right? And I think, listen, is there any doubt at this point that Mike McCarthy has just come into Pittsburgh and fully leaned into the Steelers-Browns rivalry? And he's like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to muddy up the waters. I'm going to make the smartest guys in the room once again try to prove that they're the smartest guys in the room. I'm going to say I like the guy from Alabama better and watch the Browns take Ty Simpson at 6 and blow this whole thing up, right? Because, well, hey, I mean, if he likes him better and they take Mendoza at 1, we take Simpson at 6. We look brilliant, man. That's Harvard stuff, right? Like, we look brilliant doing this. So congrats, Mike McCarthy. I mean, maybe it'll work. I have no idea. But I applaud the effort. I am 100% convinced this is Mike McCarthy. It said a veteran offensive coach. And he was like, hey, you can't put veteran head coach. I mean, there's only like 32 of us. They're gonna figure it out, right? You say veteran offensive coach, that could be anything. That could be a passing game coordinator. That could be an offensive coordinator. That could be a quarterback coach. It could be anything. McCarthy's known as an offensive guy, right? Bravo.
Yeah, it just feels like a lot of smoke, Chad. It feels like a lot of smoke. I mean, regardless of what team's saying it, I mean, they're just hoping that the Raiders, just by chance, don't take Mendoza. I don't think they would take Simpson if they didn't take Mendoza. I think they'd be going a completely different position or trading out of the pick. But
I don't really think.
Oh, Chad, pause. So we'll never know what.
Everybody's going to tell you.
We lost you there for a moment, Chad. You said, I just want you to know that this is, and you froze. And I was like, oh, well, Chad may never let us know what he. Go ahead.
Well, you'll never know. You'll never know what I really said behind the scenes. No, I really don't think that was aimed at the Browns. That's a joke. That was a joke. Okay. But I do think, I agree with you, that everything that you hear from everyone, I don't care if it's an anonymous source, if it's a named source, if it's the source is trust me, bro. Everything is just smoke coming from somebody, whether it's a coach, a head coach, an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator, a scouting director, an owner, a beat writer. It seems like, nobody really knows what's going on this time of year. This is like the time of the NFL year where we don't really know anything, right? This is the Kevin Stefanski time of the year where it's like, I respect the question, and quarterbacks are good quarterbacks sometimes, and sometimes quarterbacks are bad quarterbacks. We're going to try to get a good one, right? Like, we're not going to get a straight answer from anybody, man. So, no, I do agree with you on that. I think it's all smoke. I think it's all just nonsense. We buy into it. It's fun as fans to speculate and see, well, here goes Ty Simpson up the draft board, right? Probably not. I mean, I don't think I don't think that's going to work.
I don't think so either, pal. I don't think so either. Well, that was if you're a Braves fan out there, you got to hear Chad's thoughts on that. You also got to hear a little bit of a Mendoza chatter, but we are going to take a quick pause, Chad. We're going to let everybody get some caffeine, grab dinner on the West Coast, and when we get back, we're going to go over Tuesday Top 5 and our final thoughts and put a bow on this Tuesday edition of Inside Edge Primetime. That's Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I'm Eli Moon. This is Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Give us a follow, Inside Edge Net, and we'll see you on the flip side after the commercial break. And welcome back, everybody, to Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon. We are back for one final segment here. Talked a lot of NFL in that first segment. We talked about the Atlanta Braves in that second segment. We'll leave that be for now. But yeah, not a tough day if you're the Atlanta Braves fan and Jurickson Profar to be specific. Yeah, Chad. With that being said, I think it's a perfect time for me to hand the reins off to you in our favorite segment of Tuesday Top 5.
I will say real quick, the Cavs picked up a win over the Pistons tonight, 113-109,
Yes.
kind of quietly while we were, getting ready to come on here. We can talk about that a little more tomorrow night.
Yes.
It's a regular season game, and we're all happy to beat the Pistons, but we'll get to that tomorrow night because we've got I think this is our favorite segment, isn't it? I mean, it's
Yes.
It's Tuesday Top 5. And sometimes it's nice because I think we get to hide behind the graphic a little bit, right? We just kind of, you don't know. Like, I mean, maybe I take my head off and I'm just chilling out over here. I'm totally comfortable, whatever. But tonight, there was a lot of debate during the day and during the week what we wanted to talk about. And we decided to go with the timeless topic of superheroes. So tonight's Inside Edge Primetime Tuesday Top 5 is superheroes. I don't think we need any music for this week. It's not quite as silly as the mascot, so we'll keep the music out of it. But we do need some Tuesday Top 5 music eventually, some specific Tuesday Top 5 music.
Yes.
So at number 5, this superhero, and I'm going to give a little bit away because I'm going to tell you he's an Avenger. He's the only Avenger who really, honestly, treats a hammer like it's both a weapon and a frequent flyer companion. God of Thunder, dude's got great hair. I mean, you can't deny that. Whatever you think, he's got great hair. And he's 100% proof that cardio does actually include flying crazily, dramatically through the sky and through space and through time. Of course, we are talking about none other than Thor. It's Thor at number 5, right?
I love it. I love it, Chad. And I got the long hair. I got to tell a story. When I was in Vegas, I was walking around on Fremont Street, and it gets a little crazy. Obviously, people are running around. You got some people that are just kind of going through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had somebody tell me that I looked like Poseidon.
Okay.
And then later on, I think I also had somebody say Thor.
All right.
So that was the first time I was growing my hair out. So, Thor, man, first off, I'm a big fan already. I mean, the guy rocks out with long hair, without the long hair. And I think, it may be controversial for people to see him at top 5, but I think he deserves a slot. He puts in the hard work without people necessarily always asking, hey, are you okay?
Yeah. He's the God of Thunder. Listen, and if you don't think he's top 5, I challenge, pick up the hammer.
Yeah,
Just
pick up the hammer.
Pick up the hammer, and you spend walk a mile in Thor's shoes, if you will. Does he wear shoes? I'm sure he's got shoes.
Don't be a thorn in Thor's side.
Yeah. No shirt, no shoes, no superhero service. I don't know, whatever. We should
Super service.
Super service. I like super service. I like that better. We should move on to number 4. Listen, at number 4, sometimes, I'll be honest with you, the best superpower is just turning your anger into an absolute 100% demolition permit, right? This next guy on our list, you'll know him as soon as I say he's big, he's green, and never once in his history of being a superhero, Eli, has he ever whispered, "Let's handle this calmly." Number 4 is the Incredible Hulk, and he's too big to fit on the whole graphic. He's in your face. Look at that's how big the Hulk. He's big. Get it? He's big. There he
is.
It's the Incredible Hulk at number 4. I think that's right.
There was a
superhero, but he became one because of a thing.
There was an Incredible Hulk game there's a video game. I don't know if you remember it, but there was this video game, and you could play the storyline mode, and you were Bruce Banner at certain points, and then certain points you were the Hulk, and you would just destroy people. And it was so cool. It was such a cool game, and I think it made maybe my generation fall in love with the Incredible Hulk a lot more. But Hulk hands growing up, fighting your brother or your friends or whoever. I mean, Hulk is a staple. I mean, and 4 I think is a valued spot on this list.
I think it works. And listen, I'm going to show my age a little bit. I grew up with the Incredible Hulk played by Lou Ferrigno. So that's the Hulk that I watched growing up as a kid. It was Lou Ferrigno, it was the bodybuilder out there, and he wasn't quite as big as this iteration of Hulk, but he got the job done nonetheless. Yeah, did a great job. So I'm old. We know that now. But I think we knew that before. So the number 3 superhero on our list. Uh, and maybe some of these descriptions, they might give it away a little bit. This guy is your friendly neighborhood overachiever. Uh, I picked him because he balances school, rent, villains, sometimes super villains, and existential dread. And Eli, that's all before lunch. He's also the only superhero who fights crime while doing parkour off of skyscrapers. I thought that was worth a shot at our list. So Hulk, get out of the way, buddy. Number 3 is the amazing Spider-Man. There he is, the amazing Spider-Man. My son would be very, very happy with this selection.
Yeah, and shout out my little brother Austin too. He had a Spider-Man blanket growing up the entire time, man. We were kids. That was his favorite blanket, the Spider-Man blanket. Same thing with the Hulk hands. He had the Spider-Man. There was this like toy you had like the Spider-Man like shoot the webs, and you
Yeah.
could just do your thing. And you had the video game, and then Peter Parker. I mean, and you have different iterations, but they're all dope. They're all great
Yeah.
iterations. I mean, just the story itself, it's Spider Man. I mean, it could have happened to any regular human being. It's like, a spider bite that just turns you superhuman. I mean, it could happen. It could happen. And I think this is so cool. He's in cartoon form, he's in real life form. There's different versions, the Venom stuff. I mean, just so cool. So cool. I'd even argue he could be higher on this list, but I'm okay with 3.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue with anyone. Listen, the Spider-Verse stuff is so cool. My son, if you know my son, it means you know that he is all Spider-Man all the time. He has Spider-Man everything. I mean, absolutely everything. Like it does not matter to him. If it's Spider-Man, he's going to want it. So yeah, he would be happy to see Spider-Man on the list. He helped me pick out this picture. That's how I got this picture. So that was his. So
Heck yeah.
Spider-Man is
Heck
number
yeah.
3. Good stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I think this is where we might get into a little bit of controversy, but I'm here for it, man. I've got reasons galore for the order of the rest of our list. And I think some people might be a little bit shocked, but that's okay. I'll just tell you that number 2 is, and you might think that I'm describing number 1 when I say this, but number 2 is the gold standard of superheroes to a certain extent. This next superhero is faster than a speeding bullet. He's stronger than a locomotive, right? Somehow he's still super polite most of the time, unless, well, certain things happen. You wake him up from a super long nap and he comes out a little crabby, which can happen to me at sometimes too. Also, doesn't matter if it's the black uniform or the red, white, yellow, blue, whatever. Dude's outfit and cape game have been pretty much unstoppable since 1938. We are obviously talking about Cleveland born superhero. Not really born because he's, the story is but it's Superman, right? Yeah, he's born on Krypton, but he was created here. Whatever. Don't argue with me on this. And I went with the Christopher Reeve Superman because that's the Superman that I grew up on. So I went with New Hulk for effect. I thought big new Hulk would be good in your face. But classic Superman, man. Christopher Reeve is what I grew up on as Superman as a kid. So that's what I think of. And, Superman is number 2.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind. I mean, he's a beast unless you have kryptonite. He's not Hulk beast, but he's a beast. And
Yeah.
I just the Clark Kent stuff. During Homecoming one year, I keep reflecting back, but I love superheroes. And I did the Clark Kent stuff. You wear the Superman. I'm behind the screen right now, but you do this the Clark Kent, the
Oh, yeah.
Superman, and so I
Well, I'm
bought the
picturing what you're doing. Yep.
Yep. So, doing that and just yeah, man. Super. So if he's 2, then 1's got to be Batman, right?
And why do you ask me? Is it because Batman took Superman out?
I'm just asking.
Well, listen, here's the thing about Batman. Batman is not technically a superhero.
Mm.
Batman had to use a little bit of something to take Superman out. I didn't just fight him and take him out, right? He used the kryptonite. So if I put Batman on this list, then if you're a Superman guy, I would have to put General Gus Gorman on this list because he nearly took Superman out. He made some kryptonite, I didn't know the exact ingredient. There was a missing ingredient. He tried to throw tar in because he had a pack of cigarettes in front of him, whatever. It didn't work. He just turned Superman kind of bad. Anyway, if you ever watched the old Supermans, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, you're like, what's this guy talking about right now? I have no idea. So number 1, for the first time in our short history of Inside Edge Primetime Tuesday Top 5 lists, Eli, we have a tie.
Oh wow.
I think that would make it an historic tie.
Yeah.
Because I think, and I may give it away too, because choosing between an Amazonian warrior with a magic lasso and an absolute cosmic powerhouse badass who punches through spaceships kind of feels like a decision maybe best left to the universe or the viewers or whoever. So listen, strength, confidence, zero tolerance for nonsense, bro. That's straight elite. It fits both of our top superheroes, and I'm just gonna unleash. It's Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel. And listen, you might go, how does Superman fit it? What? That doesn't make sense. But it does make sense. If you've watched the movies, when they brought Superman back from the nap, right? When Batman took him out and he whatever thought Superman's dead. When they brought him back and he was grumpy and he wanted to kill absolutely everything, Eli. I mean everything, right? And he should have been able to do it. Who kept him in check? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was Wonder Woman.
It was Wonder Woman. She kept him in check.
Wonder
She
Woman.
didn't even call him Superman. She calls him Kal-El, right? Not even like just that's tough love, man. You need a good female to keep you in line, right? To be in your corner. That's Wonder Woman, bro. She's clearly deserving of number one. And then you're watching the Avengers movies, and they're fighting Thanos, and it's going bad, and they're just getting overwhelmed, and I mean it's not looking good, right? People are getting hurt, people are going down, people disappear. It's bad, right? But what happened when our fellow number one superhero showed up? Do you remember what happened, Eli?
Shit got real.
I mean, it got real quick, and everyone looked up and said, "Oh my God, Captain Marvel!" And it's like they relaxed, man, and everybody smiled, and they were like, "Well, bro, we're good." Like, and if you can have that kind of impact, right, coming off the bench, shouldn't even start the game. Came off the bench,
Yeah.
right, and completely lit it up in the fourth quarter. I mean, out of nowhere, right? That's sorry, man. That's worthy of number one on our list, and I think it's important to note that for the first time ever, we do have an Inside Edge Primetime Tuesday Top 5 complaints section.
Okay.
And I think that it's fair to listen. If nothing here at the Inside Edge Network, we're very accountable. So that being said, please, if you have a complaint that you'd like to voice, the man they call Moon on Instagram, on I believe X, there he is right there. You see him. There's his face. You know him. It's Eli Moon.
Yep. That's it. Instagram exclusive. Instagram exclusive.
Sorry about that. And listen, if he doesn't answer on Instagram, here you might want to contact him by cell phone. So his phone number, let me bring it up. Hold on. Do I have that slide in here? I don't have that slide.
Whew, thank goodness.
Save that one.
Thank
But
goodness.
just hit him at the man. Just don't forget about the phone. Don't do that. Maybe that was a little too far. The man they call Moon on Instagram is where you can direct those complaints. Because I had nothing to do with that list. Absolutely nothing to do with himself.
I love it. I love it. Another edition of Tuesday Top 5. A good list. A very interesting list. Yeah. If you have some thoughts on it, let us know at Inside Edge Net. Give us a like, follow, subscribe. And we're going to get some final thoughts in here, Chad, before we get out of here and hand the baton off to our bro, AA Anthony Alford at midnight. Midnight Run with Anthony Alford coming up at the top of the hour. But final thoughts for you, my bro, Chad. What do you think?
Listen, if you get caught doing something stupid, okay, maybe the best move is to just maybe keep your head down the rest of the time and do things the right way, and maybe don't repeat the stupid thing. That's it. Listen, everybody makes mistakes, okay? I did not flame Jurickson Profar for getting suspended for half a season last year. I didn't say a word. Whatever. I get it, man. Guys are under pressure to perform. He signs a contract with the Braves. He wants to make an impression. Okay, he did a stupid thing. As long as he never does it again, we're good. But we're not good because here we are for the second time. And within a calendar year, Jurickson Profar has done something remarkably stupid. So please, if you make a stupid mistake, that's okay. If you repeat the stupid mistake, that's probably not okay. You may need to, I don't know, go to therapy or something. That's it. That's all I got.
And my final thoughts are, if you're a 25-year-old running back that won't be 26 till October, go get your bag. But if you don't necessarily need the bag, because Super Bowl MVP just paid you out and all that other jazz, then you look great in orange and brown. Kenneth Walker, I'm talking to you. And yes, maybe we're far away from that, but
again,
man can dream.
Go to the man they call Moon.
Man can dream. Man can dream. Hey, but that is the show. Again, a reminder, Midnight Run with Anthony Alford at the top of the hour at midnight. But Chad and I will be back here with you. I was talking a little fast there. But we will be back here with you. We'll have David Ruiz and Autumn Chisholm on the show here with us tomorrow to debut or talk about the debut of their new show, Mic Check Take Two, which is very exciting. Yeah, it's going to be on Fridays. So Friday evening. So very exciting stuff there. We'll have him on at 10, about 10:25, 10:30 tomorrow to be talking about the show, and we'll just have some questions for him. So Chad, bring some questions.
Absolutely. I'm going to ask him about their top 5 superheroes.
Good. All right, keep the list. Keep the list. Yeah. All right, perfect. We're ready. We're ready to go for tomorrow. We hope you are too. Again, give us a follow at Inside Edge Net on all the socials, at Real Chad Bryan, at The Man They Call Moon on Instagram. I know, I'm a confusing guy. But that's Chad Bryan. To my right, your left, I am Eli Moon. This is Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Reminder, Midnight Run with Anthony Alford at midnight. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.